It's about time that we as South Africans woke up to who the people who lead us really are. They are opportunists who look after themselves by exploiting our votes, trust, and naivety. They often speak out of both sides of their mouths. Cyril Ramaphosa told us in 2014 that his business interests would be placed in a blind trust to avoid conflicts of interest upon becoming deputy president. However, in 2022, he admitted in Parliament that no such blind trust was ultimately formed, stating that all his financial interests were instead declared. What does that say? It says he knew the right thing and chose not to do it. If he had chosen to do the right thing, we would not be talking about Phala Phala today. Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, who played a leading role when the ANC rejected the findings of the Section 89 panel, today wants us to believe she was acting on Fikile Mbalula's instructions. She has forgotten what she told the country on that day. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Mosia. Let's get right into this. Shortly after his appointment as Deputy President in May 2014, Cyril Ramaphosa issued a statement announcing that he would divest from the Shanduka Group, the investment holding company he founded in 2001. In the interim, he said his family's interests would be held in a blind trust. That meant he would play no role in their day-to-day running while in office. Among the reasons he cited was to remove the potential for any conflict of interest and to enable him to effectively perform the functions of his position. So the next question is, did he place his interests in a blind trust? A fat no is the answer. What did he do instead? He declares these interests, he says. And this, my friends, was the birth of Phala Phala, the scandal. Cyril Ramaphosa is not just any politician. He's the guy credited with birthing our constitution. If your party is as factionalized as the ANC is, you know that there are snakes in every bush. They are tracking your every movement. They are waiting for you to make a mistake and then they pounce. That is exactly what Arthur Fraser did. But Arthur Fraser did not create the scandal for Cyril. Cyril got himself into this soup, and honestly, making a legalistic argument about having declared the interest is not going to help solve what has become a gigantic political mess. Here is what the ANC said at the time through its then National Treasurer, Paul Mashatile.
The NEC resolved that the NEC will vote against the adoption of the report of the Section 89 panel, given the fact that the report has now been taken on review by the President. So we thought we are going to leave it there for now. Should Parliament proceed tomorrow, the ANC will not support that report. That's our conclusion. We looked at all pros and cons, but at the end of the day, we decided that the decision that we ended up taking is to the best interest of both the ANC and the country, that the President should proceed, and that the taking the report on review should also proceed. I think somebody asked me earlier whether the President did indicate to us that he was going to do so. Yes, he did. The President informed us as early as Saturday, when the officials met, that he will take the matter on review. And again this morning in the NEC, he did indicate that he is taking the matter on review.
You don't need to guess what Ramaphosa is saying today, though.
When the independent panel submitted its report in December 2022, I said that I disagreed with its findings and the process of reasoning that led to those findings. In my submission to the panel, I said, the complaints against me are based on hearsay allegations. No evidence, let alone sufficient evidence, has been presented to prove that I committed any violation, let alone a serious violation of the Constitution or the law, or serious misconduct as set out in the Constitution. As a consequence, I decided then to approach our courts to take the report of the independent panel on review. I was advised by my legal team that the panel report was capable of being reviewed by a court of law on several grounds, including the misconception of its mandate, grave errors of law, and unfounded conclusions of fact. However, the outcome of the vote of the National Assembly in 2022 stopped the process of further examination through a review of the report, resulting in the report having no practical or legal consequence. I therefore did not proceed at the time with the review of the panel's report, as the National Assembly had taken a decision on the matter. However, I did say at the time that I reserved my right to institute review proceedings against the panel's report should circumstances change. The Constitutional Court judgment last week means that the report of the independent panel now has legal consequence, as it now stands to be placed before the impeachment committee. As the court ruled, the independent panel's recommendation to proceed with an impeachment inquiry must be implemented unless and until the report is set aside on review. On the basis of advice from my legal team, and as is envisaged by the Constitutional Court when it said unless and until the report is set aside on review, I have therefore decided to proceed to take the independent panel's report on review on an expeditious basis.
So which is which? These two statements cannot be true at the same time. Did Ramaphosa abandon his review application because the ANC had voted against the report, or did the ANC vote against it because Ramaphosa was taking it on review? In 2022, when Parliament voted not to set up the impeachment committee, one of the key role players was Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, who was the National Assembly Speaker. She presided over the vote on the matter. EFF leader Julius Malema pleaded with her to allow the vote to be conducted through a secret ballot. Listen to the exchange.
The third issue, Speaker, is that there are members of Parliament from the ruling party who spoke openly that they are going to vote against the dictatorship of the Minister of Minerals. What does it mean? It means that this vote has got a potential of going either direction. And because of that, we ought to protect those people, because through that intimidation, they may not be able to fulfill their constitutional mandate. So the circumstances that are prevailing now, Speaker, dictate that you provide the secret ballot. We are confident there are 60 members in the ruling party who have confirmed that they will vote for this. And those members will be intimidated if this vote is not secret.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, we proceed. Honorable member, just a slight correction. I don't get intimidated easily. I can assure you, I don't. I'm a fighter, just like you call yourself a fighter. I'm a fighter. I don't get threatened that easily.
That was Nosiviwe, the fighter who feared no one. 3.5 years later, she is singing a completely different tune. Here she is speaking in a podcast interview a few days ago.
I want to put it squarely on Mbalula's doorstep. That which we listened to yesterday should never have happened. This could have been properly managed and would have come out better and cleaner. We came out in the manner in which we did because Mbalula could not pause and reflect and get advice from those who know and then take a decision. He simply just came in and said, this is what you are going to do. That's a speaker's report, this and that. You don't do that when you're a leader. I think for me, this exercise yesterday calls on us to be matured, to appreciate that we're not governing a country which is not democratic. We have a constitution, and here on the 30th anniversary of that constitution which we drafted, such a ruling comes out.
So, what are we supposed to make of these remarks? Are we now supposed to sympathize with her because in her stay-at-home period, she has managed to find her spine? No way. Ramaphosa and the ANC have had enough opportunities to deal with this matter once and for all. They chose differently, and they should now live with the consequences. So what do you think? Do our leaders demonstrate a belief in ethical and principled leadership, or are we led by men and women who are forever trying to pull the wool over our eyes? Share your views in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor and like it and share it. If you are not yet a subscriber, please consider doing so. That was another episode of Joe Talks Politics. And from me, Joseph Mosia, see you next time.